what are some of the biggest takeaways for you, some of the biggest lessons, and maybe some of the biggest challenges of going from that big corporate space where I don't want to say everything was defined for you, but you probably had a very specific role versus now you kind of got to look after everything. Something comes up, there's no one else to turn to. It's you.
That's right. That's right. It's very fluid, right? And people talk about wearing a lot of hats, and that's what you do, especially in a small business. And that's a very different experience than the one that I had in the past. So I think, yeah, as I said, I think for the most part, it's a very different experience in the corporate world, and sort of moving to a small business, especially one that's a product focused business versus a technology, sort of an intangible focused business, was a change. But I've learned a bunch of lessons along the way. I think for one, you start to learn that as a small business, your leverage with some of your suppliers and some of your business partners, it changes very dramatically. When I was at Oracle and we needed help from some of our business partners and suppliers, they were falling all over themselves to help you. As a small business, your voice doesn't carry as far. And so when you're working with business partners, you certainly need to understand where your leverage lies and where it doesn't, and how you kind of work inside those boundaries. Now, on the flip side of that, the beauty about kind of the small business area is that you're more flexible and more nimble. I mean, that's not groundbreaking information, but what it does mean is okay, you're not getting kind of what you need from this supplier. Well, you can pivot really quickly, and that you can pivot whether it's a product or it's a process, or whatever it might be, or even sort of a marketing message, and you can pivot very, very quickly. And so those are, a couple of things that have been like, super sort of invigorating from that perspective, but also a lesson learned. Like, you got to remember you're kind of a smaller player now, a smaller fish in a big ocean, and there's some drawbacks with that, but they're all just unique challenges that you deal with.